Students, we're going to continue with terms of trade, the second part, still on factors. I just want to recap last lesson. Part 1, we learn about concept of terms of trade, how to calculate terms of trade, interpret it, okay, and then the micro factors. For today's lesson, we will continue still with factors, but it's going to be macroeconomic changes. So last lesson, the first one, changes in demand, and then second part was changes in supply. So now we're going to continue with macroeconomic changes, which is changes in inflation rate, unemployment rate, interest rate, economic growth, and also exchange rate movement. Okay, so in this slide I've provided example for real income or purchasing power. This one you can use as an example when you discuss about changes in demand, and this example is for changes in supply. Okay, so due to natural disasters or climate changes, you can use it as example. Okay, for today's lesson we continue with inflation rate. Okay, so we're going to look at how inflation rate going to be a factor for changes in our TOT. So as you know, inflation rate is about increase in general price level. So it's about increase in price. It's about increase in price level. So when price level increase, our export price index will also increase. See, when export price index increase, okay, recall back when XPI increase, TOT will be favorable. Okay, so check with the example here. See, in 2016 inflation rate was 1% and XPI is 72.9. As in 2017 inflation rate rises and that caused export price index to increase to 104.5. Okay, so when price increase, export price index rises and TOT will become favorable. Okay, so moving on to unemployment rate. Okay, unemployment rate, you must know that when unemployment rate decrease, it means employment rises. Employment rises means the income, okay, especially your disposable income increase. So when there is a increase in income, it causes spending to increase, especially demand for import will increase. So recall the relationship, when demand increase, it's going to cause the price to increase. In this case, our import price index will increase. Okay, look at the example here. During 2016, unemployment rate 5.73%, MPI 104.5, but when the unemployment rate decreases, whereby there's a lot of employment and income rises, it causes MPI to increase. So now when MPI increase, what happened to the TOT is, okay, remember, MPI increase, TOT will become unfavorable. Okay, so always connect with terms of trade. Next, we are going to look at cash rate. Cash rate here, the term that we use in Australia. Okay, cash rate is your interest rate. Okay, so the relationship between interest rate and your TOT. So now what happened is, when interest rate decrease, right, when interest rate decrease, there will be more borrowing. Okay, more people will be able to take up loans, borrow, because the cost of borrowing will reduce, right? Cost of borrowing will decrease. Okay, so there will be more spending, especially spending on import will rise. So when demand for imported good rises, that will cause MPI to increase. Okay, So look at the example given. The year 2016, cash rate 1.75, MPI 104.5. But in 2019, cash rate decreased to 1.5 and our MPI increased to 112.7. So increase in MPI will cause TOT to be unfavorable. Okay, and vice versa. Okay, next is economic growth. Okay, so economic growth, you're going to link it in term of income also. Say for instance, if you have GDP growth going to cause income to rise, right? When income rises, there'll be more spending on import and import prices will increase. And the other way around, let's say if GDP falls, there'll be lesser income, right? Your disposable income will fall, you'll be spending lesser on import, and then your import price index will fall. Okay, so this is what's shown in the example here. In year 2016, economic growth is 3.05, MPI 104.5. But as in 2017, economic growth fell to 2.24, and that gives impact to our MPI and it became 102.7. So here TOT unfavorable. Okay, so that's as in economic growth. And your last part is exchange rate. So how we connect the relationship between exchange rate. Okay, so exchange rate, you can look at it in two ways. One is depreciation or appreciation. Okay, so what happened is, for example, during depreciation, right? During depreciation, okay, you can look at it in terms of export, price index and import price index. So during depreciation, export price index will decrease and import price index will increase, because now import will be more expensive for us and our export will be cheaper. The same thing you can do for appreciation. Okay, so for example, I'm using 2018 and 2019. Okay, what is this TWI? It's trade weighted index. Okay, it has a direct relationship with exchange rate. So when trade weighted index fall from 65.1 to 59.6, it indicates AUD depreciate. Okay, it's an index to measure our exchange rate. So whenever you see TWI decrease, it means AUD depreciate. So as I said earlier to you, when AUD depreciate, MPI should increase. So this is what we can observe here. So during AUD depreciate, MPI has increased from 104.5 become 112.7. Okay, so in this period of time when MPI increase, it can create TOT unfavorable. Okay, so when you explain the effect, you relate to depreciation or appreciation, give an example and give a final result, what happens to the terms of trade, whether favorable or unfavorable. Okay, now let's look at so we have done with factors, okay, both micro and macro factors. Now look at our Australia's terms of trade. Okay, what has happened to Australia's terms of trade over the years? So basic information about Australia's term of trade is, the nature of Australia is they are price taker, right? Price taker mean because due to a low population and we are producing commodity goods, minerals, rural and non-rural, okay, we usually follow the world price. Okay, and in current years, agriculture output has been increasing because of the subsidies given. Another thing about Australia's export is it has lower income elasticity for demand, and because we are exporting commodity, it's very easily influenced by supply shocks. Supply shocks means like a sudden change in our supply due to natural disasters like floods, bushfires. Okay, so sometimes the supply can decrease in a great percentages. Okay, if it's like given subsidy and all that, it can also increase. So like natural disasters, we say it as a negative supply shocks here. Okay, looking at trends for TOT, so we have from for instance, we can start from 2000, we can start from 2008, 2009, okay, up to the recent years. Okay, what we can observe here is, of course, during GFC, the terms of trade is lower during GFC 2008, 2009, and then we can see a recovery period. Okay, it went up to a peak during 2011. Okay, recovery period from 2010. Okay, then it's like a uptrend here. So from late 2011, what happened is we can see a decline here. Okay, and then it went to a very low point in 2016. Okay, it picked up again. Okay, and then fluctuate to a lower rate. Okay, we're going to discuss on each reasons why it happens. Okay, so GFC, as you know, GFC is low due to the financial crisis itself. Okay, and then of course after the crisis we should recover. Okay, especially in 2000s. Okay, in 2000s, why TOT is favorable? Because we have high demand for steel and energy from China. Okay, and our commodities market are inelastic in supply. So we have appreciation of Australian dollar. Okay, we have increase in supply of cheap consumer goods. So the import price index is lower. There are some technological changes. So when technology is there, as you know, we learn, supply will be more, and then the price of the goods will reduce. Okay, and Australia participated in global value chains. I mean, we produce some goods and then export to another country. Okay, we don't have to produce the good as it is a final good. We can produce semi-finished good and also export it to other countries. Okay, 2009, 2011 is the recovery period. Okay, definitely after GFC, after our financial crisis. Okay, we have to recover. So recovery period will give a positive terms of trade. Okay, so why is there a fall in 2011, 2016? Okay, just now in the graph I showed to you, there's a sharp fall 2011 to 2016. Okay, this period of time we have slow Chinese economic growth. So when China's economic growth is slow, they demand less for our export. Okay, and we have oversupply. Supply capacity catches up, mean it refers to oversupply of goods. Okay, now recall back again about supply. Whenever there's oversupply, supply increase, the price will reduce. So when export price reduce, TOT become unfavorable. Okay, this period of time we have depreciation of AUD also compared to year 2011. So in 2015 there's a sharp depreciation. Another reason is consumer moving up market. Okay, when income rises, consumer wants to buy more manufacturing goods or services, whereas Australians are more on commodity basis. Okay, so this period we have TOT unfavorable. Okay, later on 2017, 2018 we can see a bit of rise here because rise in the price of iron ore. Okay, and then commodity prices in term US dollars has rose by 9% in the quarter. Okay, so then we can see a slight increases in 2017, 2018. Okay, I've provided this graph for you. Recovery period I've explained to you. Okay, 2012, 2016. Okay, so data to show the slow Chinese economic growth. Okay, and how oversupply. Okay, and then this graph here shows depreciation of AUD in the period of 2012 2016, and consumer moving up market. Okay, going for more consumer goods, luxury goods compared to commodities. Okay, here 2016 to 2019, okay, we can see a slight appreciation, and there's also service growth. Okay, we can see in terms of tourism, right, other services in Australia is growing, so that contributes to the growth. Okay, and price of iron ore start to rise, and we also have seen depreciation of Chinese currency. Yeah? So when there's depreciation of Chinese currency, our import price index will fall. Okay, so that could contribute for TOT to improve. Okay, so when you discuss about the trend, these are the reasons. Okay, these are example you can use to strengthen your points on the reasons. Okay, so that's all for today's section. Thank you.